Hey, hey, hey. All right, this is episode 3, the main character podcast with the one and only Fly Guy Kai, the captain, the main character, the showrunner, solo dolo. Um, dog. I was thinking, right? I was thinking about the time when I just had started cutting my hair, like cutting it. Like right now, I'm just trying to grow my hair for as long as I want to because I go through this thing of growing it till like a little bit lower than this part and then cutting it and just keep doing that. And today my forehead seemed super big, so I just put the bandana on. No gang shit. Okay. Yo. No, we not with it. So, um, yeah, I was thinking of the time that I actually started cutting my hair because the barber I went to, cool peoples, but started charging me $40 for the regular cut and shaping up the beard a little bit. Like I don't ever get it trimmed down or nothing. It's just if you line it up, okay. I was sitting in the chair. This was after COVID. I should have known that prices was gonna go up. I'm sitting there. I'm in the chair. I'm cool. Usually it'd be like $25, and then I give them 30. Like I give them like the $5 extra. Like it's tip your barber. Your barber help you out. I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, cool, everything good. All right, man, I got this 30 for him. I'm like, all right. Usually I say, yo, how much it costs? Because usually it's every time, but you never know. So it's good that I said that. I got the 30 in my pocket, and I'm like, yo, how much are you? He's like, oh, it's gonna be 40. Yo, I looked, I looked off for a minute, like, and I looked in my wallet. I was like, yo, 40? He was like, yeah, man, 40. I was like, nigga, what? And I looked at my cut real quick, so I was like, "Yo, did he put like the Drake shit in there or something? Like, did he put lines in this motherfucker?" No, he didn't. It was the same shit as always. It's just it was $40. Dog, that's the first time I had to do. I was like, "You got Cash App?" Because I don't carry around cash like that unless I'm going to get my hair cut. He asked me that, and I was like, "Yeah, you got Cash App?" He's like, "Oh yeah, man, I got Cash App." I'm like, "Dog, maybe this was just today." Whatever. Couple weeks passed. Time to go get the re-up on my haircut. Got to get my fade. Got to get the shit done. I go back. I'm like, yo, I do the same thing as always. Yo, how you doing? Yeah, yo, everything good. You see the game, this and that. Yeah, everything cool. Haircut done. Again. Well, yo, how much it cost? Oh, yeah, 40. I'm like, dog, Cash App? Yeah. Now, mind you, you give barbers grace, right? Barbers got kids, they got life outside of just cutting hair. Understandable. Every time you go there, somebody could be in the chair. It's fine. Even if you set the appointment, because now you got to set appointments. You set the appointment for a specific time, and then nothing. All right, cool. I'll wait the 20, the 30. I just want to get my hair cut. So it's either times where they run late or I'm there on time and the person's still in the chair. Fine. But $40 for the same type of cut. So you mean to tell me this is going on? This ain't even like, video games started to go up in price because not just because people are greedy, but in all sense, when you look at how video games looked from Super Nintendo days to like now on your fucking Nintendo Switch, or even now from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 5, you can understand like, yo, the games cost. It's cool. But they upgraded. My haircut is still a fade. Like it was still a fade, and you just line. I never want my shit trimmed down. You just lining it up. Hell, sometimes I don't even tell them to line up my beard. I'm telling you, yo, just give me the haircut because I know how to line up my beard by now. Shaving in the military taught me like, all right, cool. I gotta just shave this off. And once I got out, I was like, dog, I don't want to keep shaving, but I can't have it look crazy. So right now, I ain't shaving up like that. It's the weekend. Like I'm an introvert through and through. I don't care. Okay, I'm gonna be inside the house. And the weekends, I take a break from working out too. So, but yeah, that I remember that. I was like, damn, this is gonna be the last time I come here. And not because I can't afford the $40 haircut. It's never about the sometimes it's not about the amount, it's about the principle. Like, dog, I'm getting the let's say zebra cakes. And this is some fat shit. But you remember how much zebra cakes cost and how big they used to be? It couldn't have been because I was a kid. It was just zebra cakes used to have a certain size to them. Pause. They used to be 25 cents for those. Now they was trying to it went to switch. It was like, okay, now it's 50 cent, but then they're a little smaller too. Like, yo, 50 cent for this? That's why people start going like, yo, like the fat shit, the now laters, the Swedish fish, bags of chips, the cakes, like for $1 you used to eat super good just for a dollar. Like 4 random corners you found in the sofa, you might have got from your mother. I don't know what people got allowance out there, but from your allowance, dog, you be set for a little snack. Was it some fat kid shit? Sure, but still, it was something. Even for lunch, like yo, you was dead hungry, you could get you 2 bags of chips and a CNC soda. Okay, CNC people don't have CNC soda anywhere else. It was pretty much just soda. It was like RC cola or just whatever like off-brand type of. To us, it was name brand, but whatever off-brand soda you think of. But you could get 2 chips, like so many combos, dog. If you just want to share, candy for like, you know what I mean? You going to school and the girls always ask you, like, yo, let me get some gum. Like, all right, I got you. Now, nah. But the haircut, right? I'm like, yo, this is the last time I gotta come here. I'm like, man, I gotta figure this out. Cause the principle of it, of me getting the same thing and then it's costing more is crazy. I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna grow my hair. And that's why I started really growing my hair. And the thing that I would do, because I wasn't too like, I always knew how to like line up my hair with clippers and then get the single bladed razor, do all that. Sometimes it was the back. It was like, dog, how am I going to do this? Luckily, the apartment I had like a little mirror on the side for the medicine cabinet, and then had a big mirror right here. So I would just use that at certain angles to like cut my hair in the back, or I had to buy like a hand mirror and get it going like this. Like, oh, I'm looking at the back. I'm like, okay, I got it. I would just shave all of this side and then just keep the top. And that was my whole thing. I was like, fuck it. I don't need to go to the barbershop if I'm just going to get this type of cut. Man, best change. And it could have been an up north thing too, because when I went down south, I mean, when I was in North Carolina for the time that I lived in there, shout out to Kyle. I lived with one of my boys for a minute until I went back to Jersey. Um, Went to North Carolina, cuts was like $25. I was like, yeah, respectable prices, same type of cut. Thank you. You go back up to New Jersey, same thing. And then now I'm back down here in Columbia. I don't know how much haircuts cost out here because now it's to the point where I'm growing my hair and I know how to cut. Like I cut it like here. I keep everything else up top. So that's now it's the thing about trying to get my hair braided. But it was just one of those things I was thinking about. Like, yo, price increase was hitting everything. Like once it got to the cuts, crazy. The getting to the cuts is insane. Just for me to like look fresh, just for the while. Because in 2 weeks you gotta go and get a haircut again. Especially with my hair that was growing fast, still grows fast. It's like, damn, I gotta either I shape it up myself to keep it still intact, which would like extend it for a little bit, or have to go get the cut again. So it was just a funny thing to think about, prices and all that. What else? This is like when I make my videos, it's gonna be whatever's on my mind randomly that day. What's my plan for these? Like, yo, just to give you I don't know, just give you insight on stuff that I'm doing, stuff that I go through, and then like if people have went through the same thing, like yo, you comment under the video, pour favor, please, because I don't mind having these engagements. Or I gotta go build up topics for the next videos, but for now, it's like a variety show type thing where I'm talking to y'all. Because if I start talking to myself, then you call me crazy, right? The what else was I thinking about? Yo, I picked up so switch it to I like to do the Doctor Strange thing. Switch it to video games. I started playing Marvel Snap, and its relation to story writing that I was talking about last time, because I was going into like looking at Magic the Gathering and all the other stuff, and I looked up and remembered Gwent. Now, if you don't know about Gwent, Gwent was the it was like the mini game. It was a card game inside of The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 series, you do the main mission, but then a popular card game which was crazy, like yo, that time that it was kind of in, it was like a ye old time, but they had the printables for cards. And it was just a card game. It wasn't you had the character cards that they call unit cards. You had a leader card with a special effect for all your units. You had like three different places you could put them in, which was like close range, medium range, long range. You had your action cards that like gave you weather effects, decoys, destroyed a card, summoned a card. The units had certain effects to some of them, like healing, calling up a card with the same name on the board. So it had that aspect, and it was so cool that they turned it into its own game. Like they had it was the Gwent app, and it was going cool for a minute, and then it just stopped completely. I was like, yo, y'all could have just made more factions, more kingdoms, and then especially the Witcher world, like if you expounded on that through the cards, would have been good. Would have been not to the extent of Magic the Gathering, but like up there with one of those things. It had a good rule. You had 3 rounds, and when you picked your cards, whatever cards you had at the moment, those 10 cards, like you had to sort them out in a certain way. You had to use I'm gonna call them action cards. Use your action cards, your unit cards, stack them up. Each card had like a certain stat that was like a strength stat. And once you added it all together, whoever had more strength than the other person would win that round. Or if you felt like you had some cards that you want to keep, you could sacrifice your round that you had and just say like, yo, like, I'm good. It was like a pass. Cause once you passed, then that meant like, yo, you're pretty much done this round. That's why people would keep going back and forth until somebody passed or you ran out of cards. Um, but that was dope. So getting to that, as far as Marvel Snap has not that sort of thing, but it pretty much does, where they got 3 different spaces, right? You can only have 4 of your cards in that space, and somebody else can have 4. So altogether, you're having about 12 cards that can be on the board, and each group of like 4 cards. And then there's a map icon that has an effect for both people to follow. So it could be like, oh, if you put a card here, it's -1. If you put a card here, um, you have to move it somewhere else in 2 turns, or like after turn 5, you can only put cards somewhere else. And then of course, everybody you kept going. It was only 6 rounds, so you would go as many cards as you can. It got like the little summoning portal thing that increased every turn. So it's a my thing is it's a dope concept and it's a cool game. I had just picked it up. It seemed fire to me. You get your variants or whatever. Anybody that play Marvel Snap, if you got pointers, because I'm literally just starting out, I would like to get some pointers. Uh, but nah, that's yo. If I gotta see if Magic the Gathering has one. Because I'm like, because of the fantasy writing, because of the fantasy writing that I'm doing, Magic the Gathering, like some fantasy animes like Free Ren, um, Maggie or Magi, however they want to call it. I call it Magi. D&D. Those things kind of have been inspiring me as far as how I want to design creatures and everything. And it's just the the actual aspect of Magic the Gathering. Like I don't want to go into competitions or nothing, but the video game aspect, because they had one on 360, which was cool. If they have an updated one and they just put it out there on like, so I can put it on my iPad real quick and play it, I'd appreciate that so much more. I don't know. Card games to me have always been fire. Like I haven't been head over heels, but I have been in my little collection phase. Matter of fact, nah. Just know I collected some Pokemon, some Digimon. Yeah, Magic the Gathering. It's a long thing of Magic the Gathering cards that's in there. Just because you never know, like what'll pop off. Dragon Ball Z. Some of the old Naruto cards that I had from the Jump books that I used to get back in Japan. I used to just go up there and be like, "Oh, what Jump book is this?" I used to just go get the Jump book issues, and they always had like a Yu-Gi-Oh card or sometimes a Naruto card in there. I'd snag that. Like I got the Naruto card where he's in Goku's uniform. Fire. Uh nah, card games, especially when I see people that are like getting this money from card games. Come on. I'm like, dog, I could if I could luck up. Cause still, I'm so mad that I got rid of my cards when I was younger because I did not know what I had. It's one of those things. You don't know what you have until it's gone. And I probably could have made some money. Because I don't do the competitions. But some of them do look cool. Some of the cards do look cool, and then some of it's just like profit. Like all things. Comics too. Switch that shit over to comics. Um, I still got some comics. Future Sight. When that Future Sight run was happening, it looked dope to me, and then they didn't go through with it. They kind of like, yeah, things happen, but they're kind of like pushing it to the side. They're keeping some things, and then they're just pushing all the sides to the forefront. Like the Future Sight ship for DC Comics, it had something going on with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Of course, the Flash is in there, Aquaman, Swamp Thing, Suicide Squad, the Bat Family, which is like Catwoman, Nightwing, Robin, Red Hood, like these Future State comics that I have, and I was getting some of the variants. And I was like, yo, Future State look like it's about to be a big thing. Like I want to be one of those ones that hop on the train first, and they put it aside. Got a black Batman, a Latin American Wonder Woman, and of course Superman, who's pretty much a white alien, but he's gay. So it was pretty much like a big old paradigm shift. The fact that they dropped it though, because it's a cool concept. You had a different type of Flash. That Flash, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm getting ready to look at it again, that Flash had her legs were not her feet were missing. So she had like the little metal like the metal feet that they put on people, and she's dashing off of that. So Green Lantern, they had John Stewart, but then they had John Stewart with like the goatee, and he had, I don't know how long he'd been out there in space, but he had dreadlocks, locks, dreads, what you want to call them. Some of the variants I got too was that the milestone stuff. One of these artists I follow, Nicholas Drape Ivory on Instagram. When I found out he was drawing, because you see his drawing style, I was like, okay, he's got a unique drawing style. They were like, yo, he put out the thing where like, yeah, I'm drawing like the first 6 issues of Static Shock, or like a certain amount of Static Shock. And you seen this stuff. I was like, yo, I want to support that. So I had bought that first issue of Static Shock. I think I bought 1, 2, and 3. I bought Icon. and I bought was it malware? Hard hardware. I be forgetting some of these names because I didn't know about Milestone Comics until after a little bit after the the show Static Shock, which is funny because his name is literally Static, but it's like, yo, since the show is so synonymous, we call it Static Shock. It's cool. Um, I'm trying to figure out how to. I'm while I'm shooting this, I'm also looking at certain things like, yo, I have this light quality on here, and I'm trying to figure out how to make it a little bit better. And if I can't, then I can't. Like if I put if I put more light, does it like help the situation? No, because it makes me super bright because I'm what you call light skin. So I gotta adjust it depending on how I gotta switch like light shades and dog, cursing on melanin, right? J. Cole ass nigga. But yeah, comics. I want to get back into it, but I want my pockets to be better. Like me just moving down. Um, shift. Mm, shift, right? Me moving to South Carolina by myself. It's literally me. All this shit out in my pockets. And as far as moving my stuff, literally me. I don't like using U-Haul vans. Is it better? Of course. But I would have to it's a whole thing. You got to come down here, then you got to make sure you move it within a certain time. Then you got to pay other people for their gas, and you got to make sure nothing happens to the truck or something. And it's so much stuff. I was like, dog, I got a car. Me and my Elantra are gonna do it. And half my stuff from storage fit in there, and I'm still paying this storage bill. I got to go up there maybe a little before the summer, or in the beginning or during the summer or something. Go up there, get my stuff, come back down. But that's a drive. If I'm doing it straight, like an 11-hour drive, because going from North Carolina up there is like 8, and like coming down here, so I'm gonna have to split that up into like a good 4-hour sessions each of driving. Um, but nah, let me switch it back to comics. I don't have any Marvel comics. I don't know why. I think it's because I don't have a set person I like in Marvel. For me, it was for DC Green Lantern. You give me Green Lantern all day, fine. You give me stories with John Stewart in it, absolutely. You give me stories with how Jordan cool. I'm cool off of Guy Gardner. Like he's the cool dickhead, but no. Um, Kyle Rayner is cool. Kyle Rayner is cool people because he's an artist, and like I'm an artist to an extent. So fucks with Kyle Rayner, fucks with Simon Baz a little bit, even though when they gave him like the little ski mask, it was just like okay. And then he had like a Green Lantern type gun. Jessica Cruz is interesting with her because she has that whole like she kind of has that social anxiety. Like it's kind of difficult for her to come out and do things or like talk to people. But when she overcomes that, it's like it's a stronger sense of willpower because she's already been facing it. So the fact that if she goes, just her stepping out and stepping into the battle, immense will it takes crazy willpower, and that's dope. I don't know the newer ones that came out. Like I gotta catch up on my Green Lantern stuff because the newer one that came out was like some girl that had she had like a Green Lantern battery pack on and a glove. So I don't know if she's just like, hey, I tap into the Green Lantern power too, or if she's like some type of new type of Green Lantern. With Green Lanterns, it's always like interchangeable. Because first off, they got more than what you're supposed to have for a sector. It's only supposed to be one. And then when that one dies, then the ring transfers to the next capable person in that sector. So the fact that they've been pulling strings just for Earthlings to keep getting it, even though they explain it to an extent, but still, like, Earth ain't special. It is to us, but in the grand scheme of things, Earth isn't special. My nose is shiny as shit. But yeah, I'm gonna start comics back up. Like I said, get my funds right. I spent my money moving down here. I'm still spending money to move all my stuff down here. It's gonna be a minute. And that usual, that timer getting ready. I gotta figure out. Don't worry. Give me 2 more episodes. I'm gonna figure out how, because when I shoot it in like 30-minute segments, I'm gonna figure out how to do that Full Metal Alchemist thing that I want to do. Where I close this, where it starts to run out of time. It's like, all right, I'll be back. Have that little Full Metal Alchemist, and then Full Metal Alchemist thing. I'm having an idea. I'm brainstorming. Don't worry. We gonna set it up. I'm gonna teach you how to do this thing on a budget, because that's what I am. I'm a budgeteer. Let's see. I don't want to talk about music because it's draining. This whole Drake and Kendrick thing is just whatever. I just slap on some J. Cole or some JID or Schoolboy Q. Gunna came out with something. Yo, Gunna come out. People ain't standing on. People they stand on business to an extent against Gunna, but it don't matter because he is a hit maker, and his album 101. I'm not gonna say his every song on there is fire because some of them do sound the same, but his sound, you can't deny that it's not dope. It is what it is. And who else? Nobody else really at the moment. Don Toliver always. It's funny because they just started drawing Don Toliver in these crazy ways because of how he looks whenever he sings or something. It's nuts. Like, yo, y'all gotta chill. And again, this whole term glazing. Dog, why? Yo, why? Yo. What was crazy is glazing is like the PG form of like rioting. Pause. That's what it is. But you having an opinion on someone always for some reason now just means you're glazing. If I have an opinion on why J. Cole is still top 3 MC, glazing. Drake, if I say like, yo, Drake, even though I'm gonna say he lost his battle against Kendrick, he still had good songs put out. It wasn't like an easy knockout. Glazing. If I point out that because they're going against Drake, that success is kind of because of the name you're dissing, and that attention is because of the name you're dissing, is glazing. When all I'm doing is stating facts. If I said, yo, Kendrick shit is this is getting ready to be bumped at every victory party better than We Are the Champions, glazing. So you can't beat the internet. Internet's a crazy power that you can't beat, which is nuts. This is the part where the 30-minute segment is getting ready to close and a new 30-minute segment is coming up. And that give me time because I'm gonna go through how I do this whole thing in like a minute because my time is running out. You know what? What's a transition pose I can make? Like side A, side B. I don't want to throw up any sides. Just I'll be back. And I'm back. That's how that goes. This chair is creep. Let me see. Still creaky. I don't know what to do about it. It's a good chair. It's new. It's just creaky. Um, excuse me. So I was talking about comics. Yo, Jump, Shonen Jump. My anime talk. Shonen Jump, anime manga time. Yo, Shonen Jump's gonna run out of ideas. I'm saying it right now because of how they don't include other. To be fair, they don't have to. But if you're like, if you reach this global audience and you're trying to take anime to the next level, or you're trying to take your anime content, like your anime company to the next level, you're going to have to branch out to other countries, other people outside of just the Japanese. Because dog, they're gonna make the same. Like you can only reinvent the wheel. Well, you can't reinvent the wheel, but you can only do so many variations of it so many times before you need to go to an outside source to get like some more type of a different sort of inspiration, a different like viewpoint on things, a different setting. Because anime is fire, anime is cool, it's in a good place so far. But I feel like soon it's just gonna diminish because um it's too narrow. I have a relation between this and Pokemon, but if they go reach out, like have that big worldwide contest, people pulling one shots from all over, have Shonen Jump Global, and I thought I saw Baston Cape Nowhere. Have it global so you can reach out to these other places. There's people out here that have been inspired by anime and then in turn want to make like their mark in manga and anime, and they have different stories, different ways to tell. Uh, and one of them that I point out is a company known as Saturday AM. Saturday AM Diverse Manga Studio, which it has a lot of black creators and some creators outside of just being black. But there's some dope concepts, dope artists on there. One of the stories that draws attention for me is one called Hammer, and one that I really dig because it reminds me of Bleach as far as like the style and all that is Apple Black. And that's like a fantasy fiction thing where they have these, their weapons are called wands, but their wands act like Zanpakuto and Bleach, where they have this base form, and then whenever they actually activate it, they have names for it and everything. When they activate it, it turns into something completely, not completely different, but like it morphs it to something better. And it's like seeing that. There's something with a there's something with an O that's out there, like Ashra or something that looks good. I still have to check it out. And there's these other people that are just like, all right, Shonen Jump, you want to pick us up? Cool. We're just gonna do it our own way. And if Shonen Jump was smart, then look at these other they would look at these other artists that are out there, storytellers, these artists, these ideas that they're pushing out, and they would get into contact with them before they eventually get their own steam going, and then it gets to the point where they're just like, oh no, you good, like we don't need you. It would be the smart play. Relating what I was going to say with Pokemon, yo, since being there with Pokemon from the beginning, they're running out of ideas for Pokemon. The easiest thing to do is literally make all the games. Of course, you're going to make all the games for the Switch, right? But you have to make them open world at some point. Like they're scratching the surface when they made Pokemon Arceus, which was fire to me. and Violet and what was that, Violet and Crimson or something. But when they're trying to make new Pokemon or like these new like I don't know, like these new forms that they're trying to get. First off, you have older Pokemon that you could add more forms to, that you should have added more forms to, maybe like a baby form or something, or you give them the evolved form because they're in a different region. But also, you're running out of ideas because you started making keys, coal mines, what was it, gum, sword, like inanimate objects as Pokemon, not even in a creative fashion. You made two scoops of ice cream into a Pokemon. Uh, what else? Like it's just like you see like it's kind of half-assed. They'll add like maybe 5 or 10, 20 new type Pokemon, mix them in with like a handful of like the older ones and say like, oh, this is a different region. Like you can be more creative than that. There is so much fan. That's the one thing I like about fan fiction, fan art, fan projects. There are people that do fan projects of creating their own Pokemon. Or you had some like Nexomon that had like different looking Pokemon S things. You have people that be like, oh, this design for I don't know, this design for Pikachu would work. Or this design for this Pokemon. Like maybe if you enhance it this way. There's people out here that have, again, they've become fans and they've studied it. They look at it, they're like, yo, I've got an idea. And sometimes not even sometimes, a lot of the times it looks better than what the Pokemon people are putting out. Because for them, they're running out of ideas. Like the head people are just like, damn, what can we do? But there's people out here that have ideas that they Pokemon people haven't tapped into yet. So they need to, again, like, outsource. Have a competition where if you're looking for a specific theme for Pokemon to fit, then just have that drawing contest where people would draw it, whether three forms, a mega evolution option, or you want mega forms for all the Pokemon, that type of thing. Have the contest, pick 150, maybe 200, have a legendary contest, and then just give everyone like a cash prize because you got the money, your Pokemon, you got the money. Give everyone like for their design, give them like $5,000 and like posted like certificate or something that says that this is the creator of such and such. Put them in the end credits for the Pokemon game that they're using the Pokemon for, and just, you know what I mean, give them a little share of, like, if you make Pokemon cards or something like that. That's creative. That gets things going. Just do something, like, cause you're killing me. Digimon, you're not too far off neither. I rock with Digimon slightly over Pokemon, just slightly, because whenever they make stories, they use a new cast every time they make stories. Or sometimes they'll go back to the OG cast for like movies or something like that. But otherwise than that, for the most part, they have been having different, not only like how the Digimon world relates to that type of, like, to the world, but different types of Digimon that come in and all. Like, that's another thing. Like Pokemon, like, as much as everybody likes Ash Ketchum, like, dog, you could have had different ones. Like, even if in those seasons whoever you brought into next technically didn't win, still you can have them like maybe recur in like someone else's, or I don't know. I guess it was because Pikachu was so popular and Pikachu was Ash's Pokemon, so they were just like, fuck it, we're just gonna keep him there. You could have aged Ash up a little bit more. Like, it was Ash was still 10, which is crazy. He was like still 10, 11, to the point where people are like, yo, it's been, when the Pokemon was like 1999, it's been like 23 years since he finally won the competition. Since he finally won a um I was about to say Fantastic Four, dog. The Elite Four. He finally had won one. And it's like, cool, you gonna finally win one eventually, but dog, he couldn't age. I know in comic books, like the comic book characters, they don't really age like that. That's why they really don't tell them like how old they are. They just stick them to like 30, 32, or like 28 and just leave it there. Even with Batman, he's had like 7 different sidekicks, still the same age. And they've all grown up, become older, damn near almost the same age as him. That's comic books. Pokemon should have been handled a little differently. That was just my gripe, but I still love Pokemon. But yeah, with anime and manga, they gotta outsource. There's so many people out here with ideas in different continents. It don't matter what continent you go to. There's people that like anime, and there's people that have their own ideas, and there's people that put in the time to not only develop a story, but their artwork is pretty good. And for those that don't have artwork that's pretty good, they still have a good story. They just don't have the illustration skills. So you just pay. That's just me. Like when I see certain shit, like it's like a blatant answer of, "Hey, why aren't you thinking about this?" But maybe it's me being on the outside looking in, because I have that's the type of advantage where when you're outside, you can see the whole thing. The only thing is you have no control. And then people on the inside, they have all control. They just can't see the whole thing. They can't see like either the direction that they're heading into. They can't see the bigger picture. But they're gonna have to reach out. Um, do I want to talk more about anime or manga? I don't have much to say on that. I have old encyclopedias for comic books, by the way. Back to comic books. Marvel and DC. For some reason, I've always wanted those because then, like, when I'm writing my stories, I'm trying to create. There's 2 big ones. I have minor ones, 2 big ones. I have one that's pretty much set in like a superhero type universe where an event happens. Like, I don't want to put it too far back, but an event happens and it has something to do with the Aurora Borealis. The event happens, people's DNA, people's DNA start to change. They start exhibiting special abilities, and then you get to a point where you're following 4 different points of like view, or 4 different like angles from 70 years after that point. And one of my I'm not gonna tell you, one of my cop outs is because I can't, like, when comics, like in writing, whenever they say, yo, mutants have been around for a long time, or like, they had superheroes like here in a long time, they'd be seen as gods or something like that. It's one of those things where how do you like you can't ignore real world problems that have happened. Like for me, slavery. If somebody has superpower, like say somebody like Storm, if somebody has the ability all the way back then like that, then it should have been cool. Should have been good. Unless you wrote it in a specific way to where, okay, even though if there were superhumans, then people were still capable enough to defeat them and put people enslaved. I don't know how to explain slavery in my stories as far as it being let happen with superpowered individuals that would exist back then. Because you would think if you have superpowers and you're in your state and somebody is trying to take your people, and just your people, just your family, like the neighborhood, and they're trying to enslave it. If you're a good person, I got to put that in context. If you're a good person, then you would step up and you would defeat those people. If you have that, like, if you got Magneto's powers, they're not taken. So that's one of those things where it would kind of be a challenge for me to explain, like, okay, well, did, why have mutants been around? Or like, why have superhuman people been around, but, this was still allowed over here. This war was still allowed over here. Slavery was allowed over here. Famine happened over here. It's one of those difficult things to explain. But getting back to that, I'm working on creating like a world that, because of that change, and now there's like superhumans that it's like 10, it's like, I think I put like 5% of the total human population has some type of ability or some type of like, yeah, it's like 5% that have abilities. Like a lot of people have the opportunity, a lot of people have it in their DNA to become it, but after a certain point, it just stays like innate, it stays in the chamber. You can't activate nothing. I have it to where everybody does, which during puberty, like normal humans, when they change and they develop, then depending on what happens, you may or may not develop a superpower. And then it's depending on either your environment or what type of stress you're in, like physical, emotional, mental, or maybe both. And then the combination of that stems from that. And then if you had relatives that had the power, or if you had um, your parents, one of them had it, or both of them have it, and then you potentially get some type of combination, or you get one or the other, something like that. And I'm doing it from the perspective of somebody that wants to be a superhero that really wants to help out, and that's how they see it. I have someone who has been wrong, but there's no superheroes in his vicinity, like in his state, so he has to deal with the problem himself. I have one who has supernatural abilities, but when you think about it, like that's not paying the bills. Like a lot of these superheroes, they still got jobs unless they're rich somehow, like Batman or Green Arrow. Clark Kent, as much as he's like Superman, he's got like the Fortress of Solitude and stuff like that. Like his parents, depending on the story, if both of them are alive, or neither or one, they still live on a farm. And he be going back to like, yeah, you know what I mean, I'm going to help out at the farm. And Clark works at the, you know what I mean, Clark works at the Daily Bugle. He's still like a, what is he, like a journalist, and journalists ain't getting paid that much money. And he got his apartment, but his apartment ain't the greatest. So like being a superhero doesn't necessarily pay the bills unless you kind of charge people. But then they'll label you like, oh, you're just, you're putting your services out to buy or something. Which, to keep it real, is like, listen, you can't work for free. Otherwise, you ain't never gonna be able to eat. But I have one where he has these powers. He's a specific athlete that calls for superhuman athletes to compete. But at the same time, so he's doing it kind of for self, and which is fine because you got to eat. But at the same time, there's also things that are happening that he has the power to help out with, like as a superhero. But then it's like if you dedicate your time as a superhero, you don't have time to really dedicate or be involved into the sport that you're in. And if you're dedicated to the sport, then you're going to have to ignore the outside problems that people are facing. So it's one of those clashes that I'm having with the character. And then another one is with I have a sort of bounty hunter thing in that world where there's a organization, and sometimes there's not, just because people have special abilities doesn't mean that they want to be found out, that they actually want to do good. Maybe they don't even want to do bad, they just want to be left alone, and people won't step up, and law enforcement can't necessarily handle like supernatural or superhuman level threats, or like maybe just advanced level threats like advanced technology. So I'm focusing on a group of people that are part of a bounty hunter group or organization set in the superhero world that steps in to help take care of some of these problems. They take care of like a lot of dead or alive bounties, capture bounties, um, and I mean sometimes assassination bounties. But that's a cool dynamic I've got going on as far as superheroes, because it seems fun. And it's like when you're going on this Like for people who create or who do writing, when you're going on this journey, the funny thing about trying to create your own universe or trying to create your own superhero is like no matter what you do, even when you don't think about it, because I've done this a lot of times, somebody has already done it. Somebody has already created. You know the template. Somebody has already created Batman, the wealthy billionaire who has enough money to be a superhero. They've already done like the Wonder Womans, the Supermans, the strongest person that comes from a different planet and comes here, calls it home, and then wants to protect it. They've done mutants, mutants, metahumans, people that their DNA helps change them, Inhumans, some type of alien. What was it like an alien myth? The Terrigen mist, type of alien mist changes some of the people. Like people, like no matter what combination you think of, like or what type of hero you want to make, there's a template out there. Spider-Man, there's a whole bunch of Spider-Man templates because it's a young hero that's cunning and whippy. That's got like the quick one-liners, the static shocks, the night wings. Like these heroes, they already exist in that template. So what makes yours stand out above the rest? And it's like you can't reinvent a wheel, but you have to make the wheel so you have to make the look of it, the shape of it, the function of it so different that people forget that it's like it is what it is. Like if you make a Batman type character, you have to make them so different that people don't really draw too much of a conclusion. They could be like, oh, he's a wealthy crime fighter, but does he fall in the category of Batman or Iron Man or Green Arrow or Black Panther? Um, and that's my special challenge. And some of these I do like. You have no choice. If somebody doesn't have powers, what are they gonna do? Especially if they want revenge, you're like Batman. Or if they have the money but they don't have the power and they're a genius, then it's like Iron Man. Or they just want to, strike fear into criminals, you're Batman. And that's the main challenge. One of the funny things is I actually had an idea when I was younger that was like Avatar the Last Airbender. I had it like that. It was almost like it because I'm Power Rangers is my shit. Like not to an extent where like you're gonna see a whole bunch of like in my geek corner. I call it my geek corner because that's where my stuff's at. Like in that corner, like you're not gonna see like a crazy amount of Power Ranger stuff. But the OG Power Rangers was, that was my shit up until I think I stopped chiming in on that on Power Rangers like by Mystic Force maybe or something. Or like whenever Tommy came back and he was like the Black Dino Ranger, I chimed in, but after that I was just like, listen, this is for a new group of people. Um I had something to where each person like had control of a specific element and then they transformed, they had a better. It was just like it's funny how it's almost like everyone can have the same idea and they don't know it until somebody comes out with it. Like somebody comes up and says it first and you're like, "Damn, I was just thinking about that." Like certain characters that have appeared in comic books or that have already appeared in comic books that I had no idea. My main thing now is to like Google up like is there a superhero with this name? Broop, you get like 5. Is there a villain that has this power set? Broop, you get like 10. So it's one of those challenges with writing. Like I think that's why it takes me so long because I want to get these characters off. But if it's already done, then I have to rework them in a different way. But I accept the challenge. It's gonna take me a long time. Man, don't worry. I'll have a topics list. Yo, I'll have a topics list. Um, I'm gonna try to better structure, organize this. But you're watching a person that's starting out fresh, and then I'm eventually gonna get better at this. I got all the time in the world. Disabled veteran. All I do is work out to the best that I can around my injuries, and then I come back here, eat, and then just shoot the shit with my peoples. Um, Between that, writing, and just listening to music and trying to date. This last segment, dog, because I got like, I always look at the timer to make sure I'm on time. I got like 4 minutes. This last segment, dating. Dating is difficult because one, we got some stupid gender war thing going on, and it's nuts. 50-50, who should talk to who first? I expect this, and this, high expectations. You got to meet me here. Why can't I meet anybody up here? Like, dog, just stop looking at Instagram for who you're looking for. Just go off of what you feel. And if that's your issue, like, yo, if you're going for somebody and they can't meet you at 50, they can give you like 20%, but that's all they got. Meet them if you really love that person. Or if you're waiting for somebody up here high, cool. Just don't be complaining too much. Because you want to meet them at that level, wait for somebody at that level. Or there's people at that level, but they may not be to your liking. With me, people say, yo, what's your preference? I don't have a preference. It's just when it comes to dating, like, I'm not super religious. So if you're looking for like a super religious type person, I'm sorry. Even when I scroll on dating apps, I kind of skip those ones because I've dealt with that a couple times. It's just like, I'm sorry, I can't give you, I can't be the type of person that you want me to be, and you can't be the type of person that I want you to be, because I'm not following a religious type of lifestyle. I just refuse to. Which nothing is wrong. Like, yo, you could, like, with me, you can be any religion you want to. Like, it's cool. But there's certain things that I do that, like, if it's just like, if you're like too strict with it, then like, bless you, I can't. Um, Also, like, yo, I'm going to the gym. I know not everybody can go to the gym 5 days a week. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I also watch what I eat. So I can say I'm a fit person. What am I looking for? Another, like, I'm looking for a fit woman. If you look in my dating profile, you can see that I'm fit. But there's a lot of bigger women than I would like that come and holla at your boy. And it's almost like I feel slightly bad for that. But it's like, dog, like, I don't have a super huge preference. It's just I have minor ones. And that's literally it. That, and just have your own money. And that's pretty much it. Like, dog, have your own money, be a cool person. It would be better if you kind of like anime or comics or both, because it's easier to, I know opposites attract, but sometimes it's easier to also have common things with the person you're dating. It just helps. But yeah, for people, I think a lot of them are just making it more difficult on themselves. And some of that could be having too many expectations, being too much into your head, being too high on your own pedestal. We're all trying to figure it out. But um dating is rough. Dating is rough. I'm cool with being by myself because I don't feel lonely like that all the time. But you get some spells, you be like, damn, I'm kind of lonely right now. But that's one of them times it's like, yo, you just gotta hold out for the correct one. But that's my time for this episode. This is episode 3. Like, comment, subscribe. You know I don't got the little video that tells you yet, but when I do it, it's gonna be budget. Okay. But yo, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, dog, I promise you, I'm gonna try to make it more entertaining. Try to talk to people a little more. Tell your friend to tell a friend. The main character is here. Okay. Enjoy yourself.